This is Soweto, South Africa. A group of teachers is gathering at a newly built community school. Half of them are from England, having arrived a few hours earlier. Many of them are on their first visit, having no idea of what they're letting themselves in for. The teachers are here to develop links with schools in Soweto, to experience a different way of teaching and a different way of life.
Really well done. OK, thank you. That was sharp. OK.
How did that go?
Well, the chalk thing was an issue. I kept scratching my nail down the board, which was quite interesting.
Excruciating, I would have thought.
The handwriting wasn't particularly good, but I actually enjoyed it. The thing that got me was the students sat at the back with no desk. You know, they were leaning on their bags from trying to write in their notes, and, you know, they did very well. And even such a big room with so many people in it, they were listening at the back, you know, and I think in England, if you had that many in a room, you'd lose the back of the room quite quickly. So they were quite attentive, yeah.
What does that look like? Who can put up their hand and tell me what that actually looks like? Hey, pardon? A tree, good.
So what I've noticed that Emlyn, in his lessons, he teaches and also assesses at the same time. So which is, I see it as a big difference from our style of teaching.
You mean he asks questions?
Yeah, not necessarily asking questions, but he involves learners in most cases. You know, it's not a one-way type of a conversation whereby he talks a lot. So he allows learners also to participate, you know.
Well done. What's your name?
Moses.
Moses.
Yes, Moses.
Esmosisu. Good man, well done, OK?
The Soweto stay also aims to give the teachers a better understanding of the apartheid past. These cooling towers are lesser-known remnants of white rule. They were built in the 1930s and painted in the 1990s. An ugly symbol of repression was transformed into a work of art.
What you see behind me, it is a power station which was built in 1934 to supply electric to Johannesburg, but not Soweto, whilst it's in Soweto. So we, as black people around Soweto, we didn't have electricity at all. And we had this monster that is just behind me.
On this corner, the visitors confront the suffering and the tragedy of apartheid. 13-year-old Hector Peterson was shot dead by the military here. The picture that captured the atrocity stirs as many emotions now as it did in the 1970s.
You feel embarrassed, really, and horrified, and all the other emotive words that you could come up with. I mean, I was talking to the principal and the children the way they were today, you know, and then if you consider that, you know, most of them have been subject to this, then it's a good example of forgiveness, really, yeah.
It's been a real eye-opener. The images, the devastation and, you know, the suffering that happened and occurred, you know, it was very moving, it really was.
Back in school, Rena and Gary want to take advantage of the computers. The learners are being asked to create a presentation on Chester. To help them, they're shown work specially prepared by pupils at Upton Heath.
So it's from your point of view, a child's point of view, what Chester is like.
Are you enjoying this lesson?
Yes, I'm enjoying this lesson because I'm learning something that I don't know.
What's that?
Boats. I don't know. There's Chester Zoo.
I think it's a place with lots of old buildings. And the children like to go to the zoo a lot because most of them talk about the zoo. Yeah.
Rena, sorry to interrupt. How are they doing?
Oh, fantastically. They're doing really, really well. They've not used PowerPoint before, but they're all sort of paying attention, and it's really nice because some of the computers don't work very well, so some are a little bit slower, and they're sort of helping each other, and they've remembered exactly what it is. You know, they're not even looking on the board where Gary's written it down, they're just remembering. It's fantastic.
You're impressed?
I am very impressed.
Gary, how are they doing?
They're doing very well, they really are. They're listening carefully, they're following the instructions. If they have a problem, they're not constantly shouting out, they just put their hand up and wait for someone to come to them.
You're telling me they're learning more quickly than your pupils?
They're certainly giving them a run for their money. They really are. It's fantastic to see.
Outside, Gary and Rena's lessons become lower tech.
Oh, it's still off.
In we go, in we go, in we go.
They like to teach us things of that side in England.
What have you learnt about England?
I have learned that they play nice in England. They play in a cool place.
The 9 links established so far are soon to expand to 11. There can be no better example of what can be achieved than here. In just 2 days, these learners have become expert in the intricate art of maypole dancing.
This is the barber's pole because you can see the pattern round the pole.
What I'm wondering is why you'd want to introduce the barber's pole to Soweto.
Well, it's a traditional form of English country dancing. I mean, maypole dancing is something that's been done for a long time, and it's quite popular in primary schools. There are a lot of primary schools around our area in Cheshire that have maypoles, and so we...
But haven't these people got enough problems? Tell me why you enjoy it.
Because it's fun.
Because it's fun?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a bit strange, a bit odd?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Do you think the English are perhaps a bit crazy doing dances around bicycle wheels?
No.
No?
Yes.
I do a lot of dances. I think I know half of South African dances.
And you're getting to know all the English dances as well now?
Yes. And they're really fantastic. I've never done this before.
Do you think that English children will be able to dance traditional African tribal dances? It's funny.
It's not funny. It's because I visited England and I've tried to dance some of this traditional dance, and it was so difficult for them.
Dancing is not the only example of how this school has benefited from the link with Cheshire.
I came back with some other things which helped the teachers in England, like having a helping teacher. We didn't know about that one.
A teaching assistant?
Teaching assistant and parent involvement. I've seen part of this in England. They accompany their children to school, and when I came back here, I tried to involve our parents. I said, can't you accompany your children? That is why outside the yard today, you could see many cars and many parents coming to fetch their children.
The education link between Soweto and Cheshire began as an arts project in 1995 and developed into joint theatre productions run by former drama advisor Simon Taylor and his successor Sue Welshman.
Cheshire, Halton and Warrington Councils are committed to working with Gauteng Department of Education, that's the South Africa provincial government here, to ensure that schools that come on board with these links have the commitment and the capacity to build and sustain links, and that's at management level within the school, at curriculum level, and are willing to work in partnership and not just on their own, so that we can build things together and share things together as groups of schools. Those are the key things, I think.
Commitment is needed to raise funds to pay for visits, but also just to keep in touch when emailing is either difficult or impossible. It would certainly be easier to establish links with schools in more developed areas, but perhaps not as beneficial.
Cheshire is a fairly middle class, fairly wealthy, not all parts of it, but a fairly wealthy area of England. And many schools are very keen to establish these links so that the youngsters that they have a clearer picture of what the world really looks like and is.
At Fons Luminous High School, 2 office computers can be used for emailing, but phones, faxes and the post are more reliable. It's little effort and a small price for huge rewards.
The situation is so desperate. The situation is uncomfortable. The situation is not good for us. But now there is something really to hold on to say we can still make it despite what is around us.
You mean because a school in England wants to form links with you, that encourages you?
It does, a great deal.
Good afternoon, everybody.
The principal at Shemang Primary has only been in post for a few months, but already recognises the benefits for his learners.
It inspires them on how to gain in education. It inspires them to continue learning so that they achieve something, because they used to perceive the white people as the people who could do everything, as something that they can't do. But now they could see that they are, everybody were equal as being created by God.
This visit was backed by funding from the British Council and the Department for International Development. In future, schools may have to find more of the money themselves. At Upton Heath, they're prepared to pay for their own teachers and the teachers from Shemang. Back on home territory, Gary and Rena are called upon to tell the whole school about their experiences. True to their word, and on their first day back, they teach their own pupils the photosynthesis song. And they've even started to teach African dancing. South Africa will become a regular feature of classwork.
Now we're going to focus this lesson on the flag of South Africa. So we're going to go a little bit more in depth and look at the housing of Soweto, the infrastructure, the job opportunities, and indeed looking at the history of South Africa as well. It's really opened my eyes. No, I'm going to take every day as it comes, and I'm just going to enjoy every day. And for what I've got, I'm never going to complain again.
Do you ever want to go to South Africa?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I like the way they live. They have all singing and dancing and stuff like that. We don't really do stuff like that in Chester.
Think it's better than Chester?
I think the people might be nicer than Chester.
Rena, meanwhile, has been passing on a few tribal words, including the word for hello.
Sani Benani.
Okay. What language is that, do you know?
African. Zulu.
What do you know about South Africa?
I'd rather live in Chester, but I would like to visit South Africa.
I think the music and the singing and the dancing, just in everything, that was a big part of what we did over there. So I'm trying to sort of bring that back to here. I think any time you do anything like that, which is completely new and completely different, you sort of learn a little bit about yourself, really. And I think I have sort of grown in confidence.
In Winsford, Emlyn arrives for work at Verdin High School, happy to be back travelling in his own car.
That ride in that taxi was incredible, really. The speed, the amount of people.
Still having nightmares about what might have happened?
Had we hit the brakes, it's more, what would have happened to the people in the front than what would have happened to me, but absolutely incredible.
Emlyn devotes part of his lesson to recalling his experiences. Eventually, Soweto will become part of the humanities curriculum.
What was the discipline and behaviour like in South Africa?
Much better. The students there really valued their education. They saw it as their way out of their situation. Everyone really wanted to be in school and really wanted to learn. The national curriculum orders for geography tell us that, we should include a study of a country that is an LEDC, a less economically developed country. So within that, we're going to take a Soweto/South Africa example. There are other aspects as well, for example, environmental issues that we cover. Some of that is talking about air pollution. We've got some very good resources about air pollution in Soweto.
It's clear the teachers will forever be affected, both professionally and personally, by the visit. Sights and rhythms once experienced in South Africa are never forgotten. Friendships once made in Soweto are never broken. And a taste for chicken feet, once sampled here, lasts forever.